There we go. I got to start my recording. Well, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be calling in or listening in from around the country. I hope you've had a great week, man. We have had a better January than we have had in probably 8 years. I don't understand what's going on, but the annuity sales business is going crazy. And we haven't even done any seminars yet, but I've got a couple of them coming up next week. This is Greg Skogsberg. I'm with TWH Annuities, and I actually got into this industry because of seminars. I was hired to specifically design a new PowerPoint presentation for a seminar, and I was brought in as a consultant, and I started doing the presentations. It was a good fit. I liked the industry, and here I am 11 years later, still doing seminars, still doing my own seminar that we created, and of course it's adapted multiple times in the last 11 years. But what I want to do is give you as much of my background as I possibly can on how seminars can be successful, because they still are working tremendously for the agents that write business through our marketing company. Now, I go out and I help the agents put the seminars on, and I'll do all of it myself and then hand off all the sales, or I'll help with as much of it or as little of it as each agent wants. Some agents like to speak in front of crowds, some hate it. I particularly like it, so the presentation part of it is just fun for me, but man, there are people that they're definitely afraid of it. So that being said, I've been in the trenches and done every aspect of a seminar system from scratch, and we learned the hard way. We made every mistake in the book. Speaking of the book, for just listening today, joining us on this webinar, we're going to give you a copy of a handbook that I've written on seminar systems and all of the ups and downs, the goods, the bads, the do's and the don'ts. We'll send this to you just for attending. So I hope we have a workable email address for you, because we'll try the email addresses that you used when you registered. So what are we going to cover today? Well, first, a little bit of background. Our first seminar was done in May of 2005, and the reason we did it was because this marketing company, TWH, our top producer said, I want to do seminars. I see a lot of other agents doing them, and I want to do them. Well, we didn't have a seminar system, so we created one from scratch, and we made all the mistakes in the book. We learned from other people. I'd sneak into seminars. I'd get invited to seminars. I'd listen in on webinars like this, but there were very few of them. Most of them were just sales ploys to try and get me to use their mailing company or their presentation or something. Nobody would just give me information on how to do them. So we made a lot of mistakes, and it took us over a year. I think it was 18 months before we finally actually started to turn profit out of that, and we put in over $100,000 in that time. So it's an expensive process to figure out yourself. So I'm going to save you a whole bunch of time and money and tell you how to do it better. So what we're going to cover is all the highlights, the do's and the don'ts on holding a successful seminar. Now, understandably, and this is why we're going to give you a copy of the handbook, because that's way more comprehensive than we have time for. I don't like my webinars to go on more than about 20 minutes. This one's probably going to go a little bit longer, but I'll cut it off before we get to 30. Can't cover everything today. I'm just going to hit the highlights. But first of all, why? Why in the world would you want to do a seminar? Well, why are seminars still a topic? Because they're successful. It's the #1 marketing and sales system for selling annuities and even some other products out there that anyone's ever seen. If you can pull them off successfully, you will make more money and gain more clients faster than any other marketing system available, hands down. So that's why we look at doing them, because they work. They make you independent. You can control how many you do, how often you do them, where you do them. There's a lot of control and freedom and adaptability to make the seminar system your own. But if you can pull it off, you're going to make more money faster than anything else. Now, here are some of the key elements, and by key I mean these are the crucial highlights. You've got to be able to fill a room with qualified prospective clients. I know a lot of guys that can fill a room and don't make a penny of sales because they filled the wrong room with the wrong people, or at the wrong time of day, or something like that. Then you've got to be able to schedule appointments. This is the most crucial aspect of the seminar system. You can give the best presentation in the world, and then you've got a room full of people sitting there staring at you. If you can't walk around to them and get them to want to get together with you to start a real in-depth conversation about how annuities are going to help them, or life insurance, or long-term care, or whatever, then you failed. And we can do the best presentation in the world, but if you can't set an appointment, you're done. You've got to be able to build rapport. There are some guys in this industry that are not built for seminars because they don't have the ability to portray a really good image of themselves and build a rapport within a 45-minute presentation. I've seen it too many times. So you've got to be able to build rapport with an audience, and then you must be able to set an appointment. See, that's the second time I said that because it's worth repeating. You've got to be able to set appointments, and then you've got to be able to close sales. So we'll go over each of these elements in more depth. So let's talk about filling the room first. All right, so I want to do a seminar. I've got to get some people in there. I'm going to hold 2 sessions. I want about no more than 30 people, 35 maximum at each one of those sessions. How do I get them to come? I send them an invitation. They open that invitation, or they see it in the mail. I've got 3 to 10 seconds, depending on how far they walk from the mailbox to the trash can, for them to look at that and have something catch their eye that'll get them to want to read on further. So it's got to be a good eye-catching piece. Here's a couple examples that we've used from a couple different agents, a couple different locations here in the last year. One of them's for Fleming's, the other one's for Morton's. Higher-end restaurants draw higher-end clients. You've got to pick restaurants that people want to go to and the types of people that you're looking to sell to. So look at how nice these look. And now these come in a fold over, so on the other side of them there's a nice picture of a steak and it says, you know, you are cordially invited specifically. But see the headlines in the center there: safe money in an unsafe economy, strategies for growth without risk. You need some sort of a big tagline like that in bigger font that'll throw their eye directly to that, or how to safely make interest gains without market risk. There's a lot of different things you can throw in there. This is one that we've been using for the last year. It's been working. The invitation. It doesn't matter what style you use, postcard, wedding letter, ticket stub. We've used them all. They all work about the same in effectiveness, and basically the same cost. Because if you use a postcard's 25 cents a piece, versus the wedding style, which is 65, 85, even $1 a piece. Doesn't matter, because the postcard's going to have about half the effectiveness as the one that costs twice as much. So your mailing cost will be about the same. It's the same trick. I'm just going to back up one slide. You got to have something that catches their eye. You got to have, and then see the bullet points in there. I know you probably can't read them, but those are covering things that the people want to hear about. There's an endorsement on there, something from a person that's, you might be able to read the one on the right that says, I've been to a lot of these seminars, but this one is by far the best, John W. in Burbank, California. That, we get told that at almost every presentation we ever do. That kind of an endorsement helps get people's attention. So don't worry about what kind of invitation you use. Just make sure that it's built properly with the right amount of information, and then make sure you're legally compliant. You've got to use phrases like marketing and sales presentation. That's got to be in there. You've got to have your license number in there. There've got to be some topics that that clients are looking are already interested in, and by you putting something on there like learn about the new legal document that gives you probate protection without having to talk to a lawyer or set up a trust. Like, what? What do they have? And that's a transfer upon death deed. A lot of people have never heard about that. Put that on there. So the dates and times for sure. Free parking. It's amazing how I meet these millionaire people that are retired. They're in their 60s and 70s. They're worth $2-3 million. They will not pay $1.50 to park to have a free lunch. It's kind of amazing. So, and maybe that's just where I'm at in Southern California. Like I said, the cost is going to be about the same no matter what kind of piece you use. Let's say roughly, as a rule of thumb, it'll be about 65 cents a piece to get about 50 people total, 25 in each session. And to me, that's the sweet spot. I want 25 people in the room, no more and no less. I'll go down to 18 and I'm still okay. I'll go up to 32, but I like 25 as the target. It doesn't matter which mailing company you use, as long as they can get the job done. And trust me, there are some out there that cannot get the job done. So I can guide you to the ones that work the best. Use age filters, and that's another thing you got to look at in picking a mailing company. Pick the right age. We don't want people that are still working. We don't want people that are so old they won't qualify for annuities. I only use age, distance from the location, and income-producing assets. Those are the only 3 things I care about. Now, preparing. You got to pick a venue. You have to pick a place that people that fit your target demographic will come to. Oh, you know what? Let me back up just a second. Notice I said income producing assets is a very strong filter. I have met so many people that don't use that when they send out their mailings, and when they add that one difference, it increases the sales in their annuities usually by at least 30%, because now everybody in the room has assets. I use a $250,000 minimum. So everybody in my room is going to be 65 years or older, and they have at least $250,000 in investable assets. Those two filters are fantastic. And then the driving. People will drive 15 minutes to your seminar and no more. They might drive 30 minutes to get to your office once they make an appointment with you, but they won't drive more than about 15 minutes. So pick a good venue, pick a good restaurant, someplace that they would like to eat. They usually do eat, like Fleming's, Morton's, Ruth's Chris. There's a bunch of other ones that we've used that are just small independent things, but they're upscale, they're a little higher in price. Don't worry about price. Offer a meal. I know you'll hear about somebody says, oh, I do, Saturday mornings and all I offer is donuts and coffee and I made $14 million in sales last year. Yeah, don't buy it. You will develop far better clients and make far better sales if you offer a meal. We've tried it every way you can think of. We didn't make very much money when we didn't offer meals. Only use a private meeting room. If you do half of a restaurant that doesn't really have a meeting room, invariably the crowd in the other half of the restaurant will be too noisy, or the kitchen noise, or the noise at the bar, or they'll turn on a football game, or somebody will start shooting pool in another room, or whatever. And keep the room cool. People just start nodding off as you get to about 73 degrees or higher. Make a reservation. Make them call in to a toll-free number that has a 24-hour service. You'd be amazed how many reservations we get at about 5 a.m. because retirees, they like to get up early. Get up, have their coffee, read the paper, do the crossword puzzle, and they'll call in at 4:57 and make a reservation. Happened this week, twice. Then you got to make sure you capture their personal information. We're going to use this less later when we go back and start our follow-up marketing, so it's nice to be able to have a downloadable database of the people that attended. Then make the confirmation calls yourself. The day before the seminar, no more, no less. You don't have to send out 14 cards once a day for 2 weeks or call them 6 times. If you have the right script, you'll get the exact same results calling them at 4 o'clock in the afternoon the day before the seminar. And the script is in our handbook, so you don't even have to try to make up the script. Plate lickers are not your enemies. I've watched too many guys put themselves out of the seminar business trying to make sure there are no plate lickers in the audience. Now, for those of you who don't know, a plate licker is a person that just comes for the free meal. I don't care. I already did the demographics filters. I know they've got at least $250,000 of investable assets, or they wouldn't be there, and they're in the right age, 65 to 75, and they're within 4 miles or 15-minute drive of the restaurant. That's all I care about. I don't care what their motivation is. I'll win them over, at least some of them, with my presentation. But here's the crucial part. Let's say there's only 4 people that are going to actually buy from you in that crowd out of 25. There's only 4. If you can successfully remove the other 21 people from the room and not have to pay for their lunches or dinners, the 4 people now are sitting there by themselves in an empty room. It changes the dynamic, and their confidence level in you as a person is gone because you can't even fill a room. They're not going to trust you to do anything. So I want those plate lickers in the room filling the seats, if nothing else. It's worth every penny of the meal. So don't worry about the plate lickers. Embrace them. You need to put a presentation together. I've seen guys be successful by just holding up handouts, and they read from a paper, and they hand out the same papers to the audience. Everybody turns pages together. Guy makes a ton of money. It's his style. I prefer a PowerPoint presentation. I like big visuals. I also know that people in their 60s and 70s, they have worse eyes than I do. I'm only 52. So I carry the biggest screen you can possibly buy and still fit into a car or into a SUV. And then put the presentation together, or you can use ours, or you can modify ours. We've done all kinds. Make sure that they're topical. Make sure the topics are things that they're concerned about right now, except for Social Security. If your clients, if these people are worried about maximizing their Social Security income, they're worrying about a very small income stream, comparatively to the type of client we're looking for. So don't even try to put on Social Security topics. We did it for a long time. You don't even want to work with those types of sales. They usually don't have any investments, and you don't end up very many sales, if any. If you're going to do the speaking yourself, introduce yourself. This is a job interview. So tell them your name, and then start from the beginning and being very friendly and move immediately to the administrative matters. I like to start off by saying, let's start with the most important question on everybody's mind. The bathroom is through that door over there and turn left. Yeah, it's a little joke. It makes people laugh, but you'll notice people go, oh, good, because people, they got there early, they've been drinking water, they want to know where that is. Make sure they have a folder. Did they get their handouts when they walked in? They should have been signed in. Somebody should have given them a name tag, a folder, made sure they have a pen, an information sheet. Did they get their meal order placed? Because you're also now establishing the fact that you care about them. You want to make sure they have what they need. And it gives you a chance to kind of run through some administrative stuff that makes people start looking at their handouts and things. And if you're nervous speaking in front of people, it gives you a little bit of a relief. And then boldly mention the information sheet that they have, because you're going to hand them an information sheet that follows the presentation. And at the end of every section, you're going to say, now, if this is important to you, make a check mark here at this section, because we're going to use this as our guideline to do our research, so that when you and I meet later, if you want to get together, you hold up your appointment calendar. So loudly and proudly from the very beginning, you tell them you're going to come around and ask them for appointments. So, and you mention it so many times during the presentation, by the time you actually come around to ask for an appointment, they're already ready for it. They're not afraid of it. Even if their answer is no, they're just like, yeah, not right now. Thank you, and you move on. But you set way more appointments if you prepare them for it, rather than if you sneak up or try to ambush them. Plus, you'll be less nervous in trying to set the appointment. So the information sheet is crucial, and we go over the information sheet in the handbook. I think I have an example. Here's an example of one that I think this is our current one. Yeah. Okay, so this is one that Isaac and I have done, because like I said, I don't do any of the sales myself. I help the agents and I'll coach them, but Isaac and I have been doing seminars together now for 6 years. And this is the information sheet that we use, and at the end of each one of the sections of the seminar, I'll stop, like at section 1, and I'll hold up a copy of this sheet, and I'll say, and I'll point to section 1, if this is important to you, make a little check mark here, so that when we get together, we can do more research for you and talk more about that specific subject. And you'll watch people, they're making little check marks all the way along, and then they've got the information, their personal information filled in on the bottom. That piece of information, that sheet, is absolutely crucial. So as a speaker, you want to be conscious of how you're presenting yourself. If you're too quiet, they can't hear you, you need an amplification system. That's all covered in the handbook. Don't pace back and forth. If you look nervous, you'll make them nervous. You've got to be relaxed. Don't focus. I used to do seminars with this one guy. He'd find a friendly face in the crowd, and he didn't even know he was doing it. And he would only look and talk to that one person the entire time. And did that person get nervous? I mean, you could just see them. They'd get more antsy and more, they'd be sweating, like, stop looking at me. Why are you looking at me? And the rest of the people in the room just felt like they didn't matter. He didn't care about them. He doesn't do seminars anymore. It wasn't meant for him. Hey, but he made some money at it for a little while. But as soon as I stopped helping him, he gave up. So be aware of your presentation style. And watch the audience. I mean, if they're bouncing their heads back and forth following you, you know that you shouldn't be running around quite so much. Here's a crucial one. Listen carefully to the questions. This is an opportunity that you cannot miss. If someone asks a question, repeat the question so the entire room can hear the question. Plus, it also gives them a chance then to correct you if you misunderstood the question. Then answer the question in a loud voice to everyone in the room, not just to that person, because you want other people to ask questions too. And so if you make it general and that you're just handing the information out to everybody in the room, more people are going to raise their hands and ask questions too, because you don't focus in on them, because that'll make them self-conscious. Okay. How are we doing on time? Okay, I'm going to try and get this done before 30 minutes is up. I didn't learn this trick until a guy that had been doing seminars for 23 years invited a bunch of people to come and see how he does seminars. And it was the one thing that I took away from it was the heartwarming story. This increased our appointment setting by about, I'm going to guess 30% at least at every seminar. And I've used it and I've passed that on to everybody that I've ever talked with about seminars. You've got to end your presentation with a heartwarming story. This is the point right after you're done talking. You've just told them everything you know about it, everything you know. You turn the screen off, you set your pen down, you set your pointer down, and you say, I want to end with a 90-second story. And you tell them a story about a client that you helped and it turned out amazing, and that person's life is better because they know you, because of your expertise, and you did something to help them. I mean, because it's what you do. And you say, then you tie it to them and you pick up the appointment calendar and the information check sheet and say, and that's all I want to do for you. It's just, help you make good decisions, help you know about what the different options are out there, and help you avoid maybe some mistakes that you might regret later on. And then you quit. And I'd say, now I'm going to go make sure the kitchen is ready to bring out the food, and then I'll come around and for those of you who want to get it together, and I'm pointing to the calendar again, those of you that want to get together, we'll set a time that we can meet up and get you more information. Oh, and then I tell them, and don't forget there's dessert. We always serve dessert. I promise you, that is an investment you will never regret. Serve dessert and tell them about it from the beginning. It's amazing. Oh, let me point this out right now. The guys that I've watched fail in seminars are the guys that focus on saving money instead of making money. And I worked with a guy, three of us partnered up for years together, and he got to the point where he just thought we were spending way too much money, so he went off on his own. And he got his seminar costs down to, I can't remember, it was like $2,000, $1,800 with mailing, meals, everything. And he could do 2 sessions, get 25 people in each session. Never made a single sale. And so he saved a ton of money to make $0. Every time you focus on saving money over making money, it'll drive you a little bit closer to not having a good seminar, within reason. I mean, I've also known some guys that will spend $30,000 on a single mailing and seminar. Like, oh my goodness, you don't have to go that far. Although they made money, they made 60 grand each time they did a seminar, so it's okay. But we got their profit margins better. All right, setting appointments. This is the beginning of the other half. Now the presentation's done. You've gotten them there. They've listened to the seminar. They're happy. They like you, and you're going to walk around and talk to them now. We've got to be able to set the appointment. That's why we talk about it. We prep them for it. We make it an integral part of the entire process. It's seamless. It's painless. There's no angst, and it's really easy. All I do is say something like, so did you learn anything today? And they pretty much say, well, yeah, I did. And you just start talking with them. And as soon as, you'll recognize the point in which you want to say, well, should we get together and talk about a few more things? And you can look down at their papers and see they've checked off 3 different items. Sometimes I'll point to those, you get a lot of items checked off there on your information sheet. Do you want to get together and talk about those? 85% of them will say yes. It's that easy. All right. So, here's a good one. Start with a person that asked a lot of questions during the presentation. You want a warm table, and you want a warm first volunteer. So I'll usually go up to and a lot of times you won't even have to, because that person will flag you down the minute you're done speaking. They'll go, excuse me, I have a question for you. So it's you, but if they don't, pick a friendly face, somebody that you think is probably going to go well, and somebody who has a lot of check marks and a lot of notes written down. That's a good target. Plus, you want the rest of the people at the table to see that happen, and it'll warm up their interest too, and help alleviate any of their anxiety about it. But avoid commission breath. It happens a lot that I work with somebody and they try to set appointments on the very first try, and they're so anxious to set appointments, and they're so nervous that it might not work. They come across as desperate. They come across as a salesman. We can't ever do that. We have to be educators, and that's it. We'll make plenty of sales, but if you become a salesperson or feel like a salesman, it puts up defensive walls, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so we've set appointments. We answer people's questions. I know a lot of guys that are doing seminars that say you'd never give all of the information out during the seminar. I disagree. Give everything out. Every single ounce of information you can drown them with. Go ahead. But understand that you have a time limit. You've got 25 people in the room that you talk to. But if I go around to set an appointment and somebody asks me a question, I tell them everything I possibly can about it. They're going to write it down. They can't remember it. And they're going to be so impressed with how much knowledge that you have about the topic and realize how much they don't know about it. They're going to want to get together. But if you try any kind of a form of, well, I can't give away the whole story right now. Let's talk about that when we get together. They see that as a sales ploy, and you lose credibility. So I personally believe overwhelm them with information. You won't regret it. And never lie or fake it. I mean, if you don't know the full difference between a monthly point-to-point and a monthly average crediting method, don't fake it. Tell them, you know, it's hard to explain without showing you the numbers. Let me put numbers on paper for you and walk you through it, because if I try to just do it verbally, you'll probably get more confused, and I'll probably mess it up. So let me use some numbers that they will understand, but don't ever fake it. I tried that once when I first started. It did not go well. Now you're done. You've set your appointments. Get out. Don't stick around. Do not eat with them. I've heard guys say, oh, yeah, I stick around and I pour coffee and I'll pull up chairs and I enjoy it. No, every guy I know that does that makes less money and fewer sales and fewer appointments than the guys that leave. And invariably, when you're taking down your screen and you're packing up your laptop, and they'll say, aren't you going to eat? I wish I could. I got to get back to the office. My afternoon's pretty full. But, hey, the food here is amazing, and don't forget there's dessert. So please enjoy. And I look forward to seeing you. Go pack up your car. Get ready to leave. If you're doing this all yourself, then come back in and thank every single table. I go to the head of every table. So does the agent that I'm working with. If it's, you know, well, we're working together. We each at different times go to every table and say, got to go. Thank you very much for coming. Let us know if there's anything else we can do for you, and look forward to working with you. And then you're out of there. I even know one guy who, 60 minutes presentation. He stops talking at minute 60. He walks out the door, gets in his car and leaves. And his assistant does all the appointments and all that stuff. Do not stick around. Okay. How are we doing? I got 4 minutes. Immediately follow up after the seminar. You leave, you go back to your office, and you start downloading. Well, you've got the information sheets with you too now that you've collected from them at the seminar. You're going to take a copy of the information sheet. You're going to use that as your homework. You go back to your office and you send out cards immediately so that they have them the next day that say, thank you for attending. I look forward to seeing you. And this is also a way of starting the confirmation process for the appointment. Look forward to seeing you on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. at your house at 1475 Vine Street. And to the ones that didn't make an appointment, you send a card that says, so happy you could attend this seminar. If you'd like to come back and attend our next session, please just call or email me at this following contact information. We'd love to have you back for a second time, and if you'd like, you can bring a spouse or a friend. We've done that multiple times. Sometimes it's taken 2 or 3 visits, but then we finally made a sale. And you didn't have to mail to get that person to come into the room. But you start your follow-ups immediately. And that's it. That's about all I got time for. My watch says 11:27, so I'm going to wrap up by reminding you, you can have a free copy of, we're going to send you a free copy of our seminar handbook. I hope I've given you a couple of ideas today that might help you if you're already doing seminars. If not, we don't have the ability to open up this forum for questions. We've tried it in the past. It always goes badly. So I apologize, but we won't open it for questions right now. Shoot us a question. Either call us. This toll-free number is dedicated to our webinar calls, and we haven't done any other webinars this week. So that number and that email address will be specific to just you wanting to call or send us information or any questions that you might have. And I personally will get back to you, and we can have a conversation as in-depth as you'd like about any topic on seminars. And read through the handbook. There really is a lot of great information in there I didn't have time to cover today. We wrote it for a reason. It's a good way to start to give you a really good feel. Seating arrangements, man, I've seen so many guys set up rooms in such a bad fashion. There's no way they're going to make any money. People are careening their necks. They can't see the presentation. There's a lot of other things that we can talk about, but I just wanted to hit the super highlights for you where I've seen most of the mistakes made, things that will help. Mariah in our office, the most amazing person that I know, will talk to you if you call in directly, and if you don't, then you're going to leave a voice message. We have sometimes over 100 people on these webinars, so give me a few days. If you send me a question, I will get back to you, but if there are 150 people, it may take a few days. And that's all I got time for. It's 11:59. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope your seminars are going fantastically. If not, let me know. Even if they are going fantastically, there's almost always a tweak or two that we can make that'll make even more sales, even more appointments, and get you even more return on investment. You know, I'll finish with this. I hear too many guys say, yeah, I used to do seminars. They don't work anymore. Well, if that can be very true, but if If you feel that way, it's because something changed and you didn't fix it. And there's always a way to fix it because we've done it over and over again. Again, I'm Greg Skogsberg from TWH Annuities. We're a marketing company. We help independent agents sell annuities, life insurance, long-term care, and some other retiree financial products that you don't need a securities license for. That's it. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. I hope to talk to you soon. Oh, for those of you who can't see the screen, the phone number is 888-765-5116. 888-765-5116. And the email is info@twhagency.com. info@twhagency.com. Talk to you soon.